It's finally happening. The date is October 9th, 2025. This is not just another night. It's a moment written by cosmic design. The moon rising tonight is more than light in the sky. It's a message. Most people will feel nothing. But those who've been sensing the pressure, the dreams, the waves of emotion, this is what your spirit has been preparing for. October 9th is the turning point before a rare change begins. Think of it as the quiet before the wave, the pause before a new chapter opens. Tonight opens a hidden doorway. One path keeps you trapped in old cycles and repeated lessons. The other leads to clarity, peace, and a powerful new beginning. Only the awakened will notice it. So stay with me. But first, do 3 things. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and type 555 in the comments. Right now, October 9th is a powerful turning point. The moon is moving through a rare space that opens a doorway for change. It's known as the Gate of Renewal, a time when old energy starts to fade and new energy begins to rise. This moment is here to help you step out of the past and move toward what's truly meant for you spiritually. This is a time of release and new beginnings. The moon is clearing what has been heavy for too long and making space for something better. It's showing what needs to end and what's ready to start. Every shift happening now has a reason. It's guiding you closer to your purpose and peace. Nothing about tonight is random. You were meant to hear this message because this gateway is open for you to move forward. Today marks a spiritual event that's been building for years, and October 9th is the day the shift begins to show itself. The moon moves into a powerful phase that opens new paths and clears what has been blocking progress for a long time. It's not random. It's a moment that was meant to happen. The energy around now is calling people to rise, to stop repeating the same old lessons and to finally step into something new. This time holds deep meaning for the soul. It's about finishing old agreements and lessons that have been running for years, even lifetimes. The challenges, the endings, and the changes many are going through are signs that certain karmic stories are closing. Nothing has been wasted. Every hard moment has shaped the strength that's needed for what comes next. The universe is now opening space for new direction, new peace, and a clearer purpose. Across the planet, many are reaching the same stage of release and renewal. Old habits, emotional ties, and heavy memories are lifting so new energy can take their place. This isn't loss, it's preparation. The air feels different because life is rearranging itself to match truth. It's a moment to trust that the unknown isn't empty. It's where destiny starts moving. Those hearing this message were meant to. It's not chance. The soul already knew this moment would arrive and made sure you'd be ready to hear it. The moon tonight is a signal that a new path is open. The past is no longer in control. The next chapter has already begun, and it begins with choosing to walk forward with faith in what's unfolding now. This moon event reaches deep into the emotional core, unlocking what has been hidden for months. Around 9th October, emotions may rise sharply, not as chaos, but as release. Many are experiencing strong emotional surges, sudden memories, or bursts of clarity that seem to appear out of nowhere. It's not random. Something inside is finally breaking free. The energy of this time acts like a mirror, showing everything that has been avoided or pushed aside, now asking to be faced and cleared. Spiritually, this is what transformation looks like. When the old layers begin to fade, tears come easily for some, while others may swing between deep calm and sudden intensity. These shifts aren't signs of losing control. They're signs of the inner self catching up to the truth. What once felt blocked now starts to move, and what once seemed confusing begins to make sense in a quiet, unexpected way. Physical sensations may appear too. Waves of warmth, bursts of energy, or moments of deep stillness where everything feels strangely real. Each one is a signal that alignment is happening at a deeper level. It's the body learning to hold more light, more clarity, more purpose. Many are noticing that emotions they thought were healed are surfacing again. Not to cause pain, but to be released once and for all. Relationships are shifting as well. Old connections may fade naturally, while new ones appear that match the growth now unfolding. It's not rejection, it's redirection. Those who were once central may no longer align with the path ahead, and that's part of the expansion. Every ending that happens now clears space for more authentic beginnings. Moments of confusion or exhaustion are temporary. They're part of the balancing act between the self that was and the self emerging now. The heart is learning how to live without the constant pull of the past. The mind is learning how to trust what it doesn't yet understand. Together, they're adjusting to a new rhythm, one that matches the higher awareness being anchored right now. Those drawn to messages like this are not losing balance. They're entering a new one. The emotional surges, the memories resurfacing, the sudden bursts of truth, All of these are proof that evolution is happening from within. The moon doesn't demand perfection. It asks for honesty, and honesty always brings renewal. The collective is going through this together, even if it feels personal or private. What's clearing out of one person is helping lift the weight for many. Every moment of release adds to the greater transformation happening across the world. The energy of tonight acts like a turning point, showing that no one is alone in their process. The path forward may still look uncertain, but the direction is clear. Something brighter is calling, and the soul is finally ready to answer. In these hours, the mind turns inward, drawn toward the parts that rarely see the light. The moon's movement around October 9th opens a deep mirror inside, one that doesn't show what's perfect but what's real. Fears may surface without warning. Emotions that once seemed resolved may return with new meaning. This isn't punishment or setback. It's the moment when the hidden corners of the soul ask to be understood. Every person carries a version of themselves built from choices, mistakes, and lessons. The shadow is not an enemy. It's the keeper of power that was once silenced. Spiritual traditions have always spoken of this meeting with the inner night, the point where light must face what it once avoided. Facing the shadow doesn't destroy, it transforms. Each truth uncovered becomes a key, unlocking strength that was buried under guilt, shame, or resistance. October 9th marks a time when karmic threads begin to untangle. The same stories that kept looping start to lose their grip. Old fears, emotional walls, and attachments rise not to stay but to leave. It's the soul's way of clearing its own history. The discomfort of this process is the signal that release is working. What's been trapped is finally being rewritten in real time. Through awareness and acceptance, many may notice moments of deep reflection, flashes of honesty that can't be ignored. These are the moments of alchemy, the turning of emotional lead into spiritual gold. Shadow work isn't about perfection. It's about integration. It asks for courage to admit truth without judgment, to allow forgiveness where pain once lived, to see the past not as a wound but as wisdom. During this passage, relationships, habits, and identities built on fear start to lose power. What no longer matches the higher vision will fade even if the mind resists it. This is evolution at work, subtle yet undeniable. The moon's influence presses the inner world to realign with truth, no longer hiding behind comfort or illusion. The most powerful part of this journey is not the release itself, but what stands on the other side. Peace that doesn't need pretending. Once the inner darkness is faced, light no longer feels fragile. It becomes grounded, unshakable, and whole. This phase isn't about breaking. It's about remembering the self that walks out of this shadow work, carries more clarity, compassion, and inner freedom than ever before. The night doesn't erase the light. It teaches how to carry it forward without fear. And as the moon continues its path through October 9th, it becomes a reminder that transformation doesn't come from escape. It comes from meeting truth face to face and walking through it with open eyes. A powerful threshold has opened, drawing many into a state where life starts to make a different kind of sense. Around this, a quiet yet undeniable turning point unfolds, one that doesn't rely on signs in the sky but on a deep call within the human spirit. It is as though a door that had been locked for ages has finally swung wide, inviting a new way of being into the world. This isn't a small stage. It's a reorientation of who we are and what we are here to embody. Spiritual awakening at this stage is not about escaping life, but stepping fully into it with clearer eyes. The old heaviness begins to lose its hold, replaced by a steadier rhythm and a stronger presence. People may find themselves speaking truth where they once stayed silent, walking paths that once felt out of reach, or sensing new clarity in relationships and choices. This is the signal of vibrational realignment, the inner compass turning toward authenticity. No longer guided by fear or distraction, momentum builds as more individuals cross this inner threshold. What was once hidden in the background now rises to the front. Purpose, vision, and a stronger sense of connection to something larger than the individual self. This is not a fleeting rush. It's a sustained expansion. The body, mind, and spirit begin to move in the same direction, no longer pulled apart by conflicting desires. Such an awakening often brings unexpected insights. Long-standing confusion starts to clear. Old ways of thinking lose their grip. The self that emerges is not a new identity, but a fuller, truer expression of what was always there. This is the sacred change, the point where transformation becomes lived reality, rather than an idea. As the moon crosses October 9th, its presence reflects this stage of awakening like a beacon. It does not grant power, it reveals it. The transition is not loud or dramatic, but steady and undeniable, like a tide rising to meet the shore. Those experiencing it are not being lost. They're being found, woven back into the larger rhythm of life with clarity, courage, and depth. This moment signals not an ending, but the start of a more complete embodiment of spirit in action. It is a movement from fragmentation toward wholeness, from old illusions toward truth lived daily. The invitation now is to walk forward with awareness, to trust the unfolding process and to recognize that this awakening is not happening to them, but through them anchoring a brighter, stronger presence into the world. Right now, an unseen orchestration is taking place that links individual awakenings into something far larger than one person's path. The movements happening inside people, those inner surges of courage, clarity, and new direction, are not isolated events. They're like tuning forks striking the same tone, creating a sound that reaches beyond the individual and into the shared field of life. This is where personal transformation becomes collective momentum, where a single spark adds to a rising light that can no longer be ignored. In moments like these, the boundaries that once kept inner growth locked inside begin to dissolve. A person's private breakthroughs ripple outward as a quiet influence affecting families, communities, and even the larger human story, without anyone needing to speak it aloud. This is why so much has begun to shift at once. It isn't chaos, it's a deep synchrony, a shared activation of higher consciousness unfolding through countless lives at the same time. The events surrounding October 9th are part of this synchrony, marking a point when many timelines converge and shift towards something previously unimaginable. Spiritual revolution does not begin with grand speeches or visible leaders. It starts with one awakened choice after another, multiplied across thousands and then millions of people. Think of it like roots underground, each one separate but all feeding the same growing forest. No single root can see the full design, but together they shape an ecosystem. This is the kind of change now emerging. It is collective not because everyone agrees, but because a deeper intelligence is moving through countless individuals who are stepping into their own clarity and truth at once. Consciousness itself behaves like a living field, responding to each act of honesty, courage, and self-awareness with greater coherence. When one person moves closer to their authentic self, it's as though a note in a vast symphony becomes clearer, strengthening every other note. Multiply that across entire populations, and what was once static noise becomes a new harmony. That's why so many are experiencing inner reorientation at the same time. It's not an accident, but a reflection of something larger rising through human experience. This phase is not about perfection or instant bliss. It's about integrity living from truth even when it disrupts old patterns. And as more people embody that integrity, the field of life shifts around them. Invisible grids of connection between hearts, minds, and actions start to activate, making it easier for others to awaken too. One person's breakthrough softens the ground for another's. One act of courage makes courage more accessible for everyone. This is the real revolution, and it cannot be reversed because it doesn't depend on outer permission. Think of the timeline like a vast river. For ages it flowed along a certain course shaped by the terrain of collective thought, memory, and history. But each new awakening acts like a tributary joining that river, adding fresh water, new direction, and new momentum. Enough tributaries and the whole river begins to bend toward a different sea. Right now, at this precise chapter in history, the bend is becoming visible. The momentum of the old stream is weakening. The surge of the new stream is gaining strength. In this way, personal awakening is not a private achievement, but a contribution to a shared destiny. It may feel small when someone chooses authenticity over pretense or love over resentment, but these choices travel through the invisible architecture of collective consciousness. They send ripples outward, subtly rewriting what is possible for the whole. The more such ripples accumulate, the more visible the shift becomes politically, culturally, spiritually. The emergence is already underway. It can be seen in the way conversations are opening, values are shifting, and deeper truths are surfacing in unexpected places. What's happening now isn't about escaping the world, but about embodying higher consciousness within it. It's about becoming living examples of integrity and clarity in a time when confusion once ruled. This is the essence of planetary ascension. Not a sudden leap into a distant paradise, but a steady infusion of higher awareness into everyday living. It's walking down the same streets with a different consciousness, building relationships with a different clarity, creating with a different purpose. The world doesn't vanish. It transforms from the inside out because its people do. The significance of this moment cannot be overstated. With October 9th as a marker, we've entered a corridor where choices carry amplified impact, where each step toward truth sends a stronger echo through the collective field. The awakening you embody is not separate from this process. It is the process. By living from the level of consciousness now opening, you become a node in a vast network of transformation, and your presence alone contributes to the stability and expansion of this new frequency. Even if it sometimes feels invisible, the effect is real. Collective ascension is like dawn. It starts quietly, a thin line of light at the horizon, and then suddenly the entire landscape is illuminated. That thin line of light is already here. Each awakened act, thought, and intention adds to it, and soon it will no longer be a line but a full rising sun of awareness across the whole human story. This is why you are hearing these words now. It's not random. The timing of your awakening was always aligned with the larger shift. And now both are unfolding together. The pulse of collective transformation grows stronger with every moment. What once seemed scattered and fragmented is now weaving itself into a pattern of unity. People across every path of life are beginning to act, speak, and create from a higher awareness. The rise isn't loud. It's consistent, undeniable, and accelerating in quiet power. The momentum that began building before October 9th is now stretching outward, reaching those who might never have considered themselves spiritual. It touches everyone because consciousness itself has entered a new octave. The world is being gently but steadily rewritten through human hands and hearts that are finally aware of their true influence. Every intention sent with love becomes a building block of the new reality. Every time truth is chosen over fear, the architecture of the old energy weakens just a little more. These small acts of integrity are forming an invisible infrastructure for an era defined not by struggle but by awareness. What used to separate people, beliefs, backgrounds, traditions is starting to lose its power to divide. What remains is recognition. We're all participating in the same awakening, each from our own doorway. This is what ascension truly means. It's not a race to leave behind what's human, but an expansion into what's divine within the human experience. It's not a break from reality. It's an elevation of it. Collective awakening begins to shape how decisions are made, how art is created, how compassion flows. Those who once thought their inner work was private are beginning to realize it's planetary in scale. Every healed wound, every moment of forgiveness becomes a signal broadcast through the grid of consciousness. Others catch it without even knowing why. They suddenly have hope again. That's how powerful this wave has become. New forms of awareness are emerging daily. People questioning what they once accepted. People seeing through illusions that held the world in loops of fear. But rather than chaos, this is a reordering. The old control patterns are fading because they can't survive in a field where consciousness has grown this wide. The collective is remembering its own authorship. History is being rewritten not through force but through awareness spreading like light across the edges of a once dark landscape. Spiritual revolution often looks quiet at first. People listening more, judging less, taking small but meaningful steps toward clarity. Then one day it's visible everywhere. That's where the world stands now, balanced at the tipping point between what was and what's becoming. The journey forward is not guided by any one philosophy, but by resonance, the magnetic pull of truth that all souls recognize when they hear it. It's why conversations, art, and even the language of everyday life are shifting tone. It's why peace is beginning to sound more natural than conflict. This collective movement cannot be undone because it's born from within, not imposed from outside. It doesn't need approval from systems or titles. It thrives through consciousness itself. Those awakening in this era are the anchors, grounding higher awareness into the physical world through the way they live, love, and create. Their courage to choose compassion where ego once ruled has become the new code of evolution. Every person who awakens becomes a transmitter of coherence, stabilizing the expanding field for others to step into more easily. It's also why many have been sensing deeper purpose lately. The calling isn't about perfection. It's about participation. Each soul is positioned exactly where it's most needed. To bring clarity to confusion, to bridge divides, to embody new wisdom in everyday actions. The higher plan isn't written in books or prophecies. It unfolds through decisions made in the present moment. Every conscious action adds a pulse to the living current of awakening that is sweeping through humanity. October 9th serves as a threshold in this process, a reference point where the collective field received a direct surge of higher awareness. It's not about astrology charts or symbolism. It's about the turning of the collective mind toward awakening. What used to be optional is now necessary. The time of waiting has ended. Participation is the new prayer. Each person who says yes to their own growth says yes to the transformation of the entire species. The shift is no longer coming. It's happening in real time. Consciousness is reorganizing the fabric of life. Old forms are dissolving not through destruction, but through outgrowing. The future isn't arriving. It's emerging from the inside out. Those who understand this are beginning to live differently. Their choices are guided by intuition more than logic, compassion more than fear. They speak from truth, act from integrity, and love without condition. That is the architecture of the new world quietly forming beneath the surface of the visible one. The collective ascension is not the end of an age, but the beginning of a remembered truth. That awakening doesn't separate. It unites. It doesn't demand belief. It invites embodiment. The most powerful spiritual act right now is to stay awake, stay kind, and stay grounded in truth. No matter how fast the transformation moves, as each person does that, the resonance of higher awareness multiplies. Soon this won't be a fringe awakening. It will be the default consciousness of a planet finally remembering itself as divine in motion. The shift has already begun. The light expanding through consciousness will not retreat. Every awakened soul is part of the structure holding it steady. And though the transformation might unfold quietly, its impact will be permanent. The new story of existence has already started to write itself through those who have chosen to live awake. And in that choice lies the next evolution of the world. Each transformation asks for rhythm, a return to the steady pulse that holds every heartbeat of change. After the intensity of the October 9th moon event, the spirit calls for balance between what has shifted and what is still anchoring. In Hermetic thought, this is the dance between above and below, the unseen currents that influence action, and the grounded decisions that give them form. Nothing asks for perfection here, only presence. Those who can listen without rushing will begin to see how wisdom appears through ordinary choices in the tone of words, in what is shared, in what is released. Vedic sages once spoke of clarity as the highest form of discipline, not through ritual alone, but through alignment with truth in motion. That clarity now becomes the bridge between expansion and peace. It asks each soul to walk with softer eyes, to act as if every moment is a teaching, and to speak as if every word carries light into the shared field of awareness. The collective shift is not a distant horizon. It's here, moving through the space between thought and intention. To stand in this stage of awakening is to move with clear intent, not chasing meaning, but becoming it. Every sunrise is another initiation. Every silence a classroom. The task now is simple yet vast. Stay rooted, stay kind, stay real. What was awakened under the moon of October 9th continues to grow through every act that honors awareness in motion. In these final hours of the full moon's glow, a powerful turning point unfolds. Every lesson from the past months gathers into one clear pulse, urging hearts to rise, to claim their higher path without hesitation. The world feels sharper, more alive, as if the air itself is calling for truth. October 8th isn't just another night in the sky. It's a mirror reminding us that alignment begins from within. What was once hidden in hesitation now wants to be expressed as courage, clarity, and conviction. Those who have walked through confusion will begin to move with new direction. The message is simple. Stand tall. Live authentically. Speak from the center of your being. Old timelines fade when action replaces doubt. Each choice now becomes a declaration of strength, a promise to live awake. The full moon carries a final invitation to step forward, not as a seeker, but as someone who already knows their worth. Drop a power phrase in the comments, something that declares your readiness for what's next. Words like "I rise in truth" or "I walk in clarity" become living spells of transformation. And share this video with someone who is in the middle of their awakening. Sometimes one message at the right time can change an entire path. The moment is now. Bold hearts are lighting the